Hello, welcome back, everybody. Railbird Radio, episode 6. Really happy to be back. I know it took a super long break, but I was traveling Europe and being lazy and drinking. So I'm really happy to be back. The podcast is not dead. We are alive and well. We have a guest episode today that I'm really happy to bring. I know you guys are getting tired of hearing me talk about, life and my perspectives. So we're back real quick. Always got to give a shout out to Mile High Billiards. They are coming with 4 new carom tables. They just had a little trouble with codes with the buildings, but just talked to the owner, Warner, and he said he's making way through that, and it looks like they're going to be putting them in anytime in the next 40 or 50 days here. So hopefully they can run through that, and I'm looking forward to playing on them. So with no further ado, guys, here we go. Today, I have my friend, colleague, mentor, road dog, Jon Amo with me today. Jonathan, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, Adam. Thanks for having me. This is going to be a fun episode, I think.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. Say, John was, I don't know, what's the word, helpful enough to put together some really good information on the BCA and VNEA league systems and their national tournament series. And he's got some cool information. But first, I want to talk about, well, kind of a constant theme that's coming up on this show is winning tournaments. And, everybody wants to do it, but it's very elusive. It takes a special blend of experience and tenacity and focus. And John, this year, won the biggest tournament of his life, and I think it was March, John, yeah?
Yeah, I think it was March, Adam.
And that was the Wyoming Open, put on by E.J. Gload and the guys at Andy Cloth, Monty Thayer, Anthony Lucero, big part of that too, Charlie Williams, Dragon Promotions, and the expert division there. All the best guys from the region come out and participate in that, and John came out of nowhere, really, and won it. And I wanted to ask you, John, man, this time, of all the tournaments you've played, yeah, you weren't even practicing a lot. I know. You were practicing kind of mildly.
Yeah,
what do you think was different there?
Well, Adam, it's a hard formula, right?
It is.
What is that magic formula? I don't know. What's the magic formula for the next guy? I don't know. Mm-hmm. This time, though, I did have a mental faux pas, I guess you could say. I wanted to win. I hadn't been practicing, so I had to take everything I did, I had to do with purpose. And so I had a limited amount of time. Everybody knows I travel a lot out of the country. Yep. So I just had to focus my time. But we rode up together, and, we have our conversations. But I just told myself in my head is I can win this. Yeah. And I did something I've never done before. And Ooh. Kind of this, what does it take to win?
Sure.
And I just did something I've never done before.
Well, tell us.
People that are close and know me well is I drink a lot of coffee. I am a caffeine freak.
Yes, sir. That is a fact, guys. This man will drink 10 a day, easy.
I work a lot. I do a lot of things. I don't sleep much. And this time, I just did not drink caffeine. All the way up there, I drank water. I might have had one caffeinated beverage on the way up. When I got there, I just felt like I was ready to win. And the one thing I don't do is regulate. And we've talked about it many, many times, regulating what we eat. And preparing yourself mentally and physically. Yep. People, this is a physical sport, whether you think about it or not.
Oh, big time.
Mentally, it can wear you out.
Sure. Keep you in your blood sugar in that right zone, man. It's everything to me.
I'm out of whack, dude.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm always at the high.
You are, but you kind of crash. I've seen you.
And I do crash. So this time, I just took a different approach. We went up. I started drinking water. I found out in my whole life, I don't drink enough water.
or any.
I think I drink 1 glass of water a month, but...
thank God there's water in coffee. Yeah.
So, I just took a different approach. I really went in with the mentality of, I want to win, but I didn't tell anybody I wanted to win.
Sure.
Right?
I found it's often better when you keep it inside. Yeah.
If you don't say anything, you just go along your own pace. So I did that. I went, I played a little bit, I gambled a little bit before the tournament, and I just felt good. I just felt like I was ready.
And guys, on totally different equipment than he practices on as well, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And first time ever at the tournament. I've never been to this tournament.
I forgot. Yeah, you were a rookie.
Yeah, I was a rookie. I just came in and wanted to play. So I did it. And I went in and I regulated what I drank. I had 1 coffee in the morning, water the rest of the time. I just really focused my energy on every shot. That was very, very key. My style of play is different than my normal style of play.
You mean the style of play you use for the tournament?
Yeah. Which means I took my time. I thought about what I was going to do. I looked at the shots, and I just don't tend to, as a pool player, I think everybody can relate, you tend to get off that track. You're like, this is an easy shot. Bang.
I do it all the time, yeah.
Drill it right into the rail, and you're like, I'm an idiot.
You go faster and faster, and all of a sudden you make easy errors.
And the other thing I did is I went to bed relatively early and got a lot of sleep.
I noticed that at the tournament. You really just you hit the sack, got up, ready to go.
Yeah, I just wanted to be as prepared as I could mentally and physically.
And I went out and drank and did poorly. Is there is there something to be learned from that? I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet.
I think one day you came in at 5 a.m. I don't know.
I don't know why I didn't. That was my worst tournament of the year. I have no idea why.
Same thing you're doing now, drinking.
You don't know me.
No, so it was just a different approach, and I just took a different way to get there.
Sure.
And it proved out good.
I noticed, I've played with Jon many times, and I noticed that he really stayed steady with his process. But what was good though is I think a lot of times when you tell a player, think about your pre-shot routine. Well, they start really thinking, okay, where are my feet? How's my cue? Blah, 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 blah. And you start thinking a lot like behind the ball is what I call it. Like you have all this stuff going on before you shoot, but you were maintaining a process of focus. So you weren't thinking about each individual thing you were doing. You were just thinking about the total of, I can't rush. I really need to look where I'm going, and I need to execute the shot to the best of my ability. And you did that all tournament. And you told me on the matches you struggled with, you faded away a little bit from that and then had to kind of force yourself back into it.
Absolutely. And that's a hard thing to do.
It's so hard.
You don't recognize what you're doing wrong till you're lost.
Absolutely.
Then you're thinking about it,
Every player knows that.
And that's the worst feeling to ever have.
It's
you're
terrible.
like, why didn't I just go look at that? I'm such a freaking idiot.
You practice for hours to do the right thing. You jump in your match and you abandon all that.
You abandon everything. It's I don't know what to say about it, but everybody does it. It happens to the best of us.
I think the lesson there is too, though, then maybe, really focus on not abandoning those principles. Stick with what you're doing. And I don't remember. Did you lose a match in that tournament?
No, I did not.
Oh, because they had to double dip you. Yeah,
that's right.
Jim Winters.
Jim Winters.
Yeah.
Very good player.
Yeah, nice guy, good player.
Actually, I did. He beat me the first set of the finals.
Well, okay, but you won the hot seat, though.
But correct, I won the hot seat. And I played some tough matches in some tough people that... You know how it is when you shoot the same players over and over, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you get it in your mind. And you're like, okay, I'm playing this person. You already have a preset thing. And I try to nix that out.
Sure.
And say, I'm not playing anybody.
Yeah.
I'm playing the ghost.
Well, you have an expectation.
Correct. And that's a hard thing for me to get over, is playing the same people and excelling well.
That's why it's so healthy to travel and play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Well, you beat Johnny Cisneros up there 5-0, and Johnny plays fantastic. If you'd have played Johnny week in and week out and saw, how good he played, you might have thought a lot different in that match. Instead, you just cruised through him.
Yeah, I didn't really know Johnny. I haven't watched him play, so I didn't have any preconceived. I played Josh McCloskey up there too.
Yeah, current state champ, Wyoming state champ.
And I didn't know who he was really and I just ended up playing, and I just had to stay focused on my game. And
and maybe that's the whole thing. You stayed focused on your game.
Yeah,
the whole tournament.
And it was just that cueing good, staying down, and controlling what I wanted to do with the cue ball.
Sure.
And
you said that over and over again to me. You were like, I'm really just trying to control the cue ball really, really well, which everybody says like, oh, well, of course you are. But how many times do you play when you don't really try to control it that well?
Well,
you want to, but you don't really. I mean, the grander everybody does it.
Yeah, everybody does it. You're just like, oh, I'll just shoot this with a little spin. I'll come right in. Then all of a sudden, you are like way out of line.
Yeah, what did I do there?
Hooked.
Or you had a ton of room to be on the right side of the ball, but you just didn't look at it, and you float down on the wrong side, and you turn an easy situation into a nightmare.
Most of my shots are like
that. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So all you guys out there that are struggling could take heart in that. John sucks, and he's won a tournament. So.
Yeah, so just follow suit. There is hope.
Yeah. So I think, though, guys, focus. I mean, everyone knows that, but the difference in truly maintaining your focus over a stretch, which is mentally difficult to do. Like you said, you went to bed earlier, you drank water, you stayed away from too much caffeine, you planned your meals a little bit better. That's all a package of creating better focus over the long haul. And tournaments, man, they take, even the regional ones take 3 days. You have to play good over and over and over again. And that's where pool's really difficult, and people don't think about it.
It is extremely difficult, and staying away from the stigma of what happens in the hall too, right?
What do you mean?
Not staying out to gamble, not playing this, not staying out to drink and socialize. Now, we did a little socializing the first night.
Sure, we did, yeah.
And that was it for me. I was like, nope, I'm going to bed. I'm going to get my sleep. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to prepare mentally. I didn't do any of that fancy yoga stuff you do or these weird stretches.
Don't give away my secrets, John. Don't give away my secrets. I don't want nobody to break in on the yoga moves.
I just want to start with waking up, and I did that successfully.
That's a strong move, waking up before the tournament. No, well, good, though. I mean, that's simple, but you know what? It seems simple, very difficult to execute, though, and I think that's where people miss it. The advice is simple. The execution of the advice, very difficult.
I took that same mentality into BCA this year, and that was how I did the same thing this year.
Exactly. Moving on, John has another title this year, an arguably more prestigious title, far less money, as we'll talk about. But you and your partner's name?
Jessica Freiders.
Jessica Freiders won the Platinum Division Scotch Doubles. What was that like?
That was difficult.
Sure.
I look back on it, it seemed kind of easy.
Sure.
In a way that I showed up, I was mentally ready to play. I put forth my best effort. And I had one heck of a partner.
I would say Jessica was like, yeah, it was easy for you. You're on my back the whole way. No, but for real, though, for you guys out there that have never seen Jessica Freiders play, a really fantastic player.
Absolutely amazing player. And I had a great opportunity to match up with her and play with her during the event. And arguably, the Platinum Division is no joke. I mean, it's the highest division.
Not arguably. It's tough, man.
And I do think it was a special win. And I don't think many people understand this, is Jessica and I went into that tournament being a casual friend, meaning I saw her at tournaments, I've talked to her, I've talked to Jared, and we knew each other. When we went into this, we went in blind. We have never shot a game of pool together.
I was going to say, you guys never even practiced at all, did you?
No. We never shot a game together. She's a right-hand shooter. I'm a left-hand shooter. Her style of play is considerably different than mine.
Sure.
So she
plays smart. You play like you play.
I play like shit. Sorry.
No,
Dad.
You can curse, man. It's on the internet, baby. Yeah.
I play shit like crap. I wing at stuff. But Jessica is an unbelievable player because she keeps it very simple, very, very simplistic.
Absolutely.
I complicate it, but
she brings you right back in line.
She brings me right back in line. But my complications is what I intend to do. I make it my own complication, and I deal with it. When you're shooting a scotch,
you take responsibility.
Yeah,
for
I
it.
take responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it, but okay, I can make this shot. I'm not worried about it. But when you're shooting with a scotch partner, it's totally different because you want to play exceptionally well. You want to get perfect shape. And you know what? I've learned, I mean, you and I have shot many
lot of scotch together.
And I think it's a tit for tat, right? You get them in a zone and you have the confidence your player can make that shot.
Everyone that's played a lot of competitive scotch doubles, and for those of you out there that might not know what scotch doubles is, that's where your partner shoots one single shot, and they have to play position for you to shoot the next shot until the end of the game. And when you're playing like that, you always try to get your partner in like exceptionally good shape. You play shots way kind of overboard that you wouldn't do for yourself, and it makes it very nerve-wracking to play that way. And so you miss balls you would never miss trying to get better shape, and you're trying to play certain position routes that you're not comfortable with. And once you play enough scotch, you know that, hey, I made my shot and got you something reasonable. It's your turn.
You're not hooked.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see the ball, expect something out of you.
Exactly. You should come with something. The famous saying in scotch doubles is, hey, I made my ball.
Yeah, and so having known that, we had never shot together, and we just went out there and played, I think that was arguably a much more deeper win because we never lost a match.
Oh, yeah, you guys went undefeated.
We went undefeated all the way through the finals and won.
That's such a cool story.
I mean,
out of the blue, a partner you've never played a game with, undefeated. What's up?
Yeah, I didn't even think I was going to be able to show up for the event and let alone, find a partner. I couldn't find one locally, and so I expanded my network and threw some wingers out there.
Well, now you're the champ. Now you'll find a player.
No, people still don't like me. No, it's good. So it was a fantastic I think it's a fantastic story. I couldn't have asked. Thank you, Jessica Frieders, for shooting. It was a fantastic event. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope we get to do it again here in the future. And
sure,
I really want to play you and Amy. I mean, I wanted to beat you bad.
I generally play Scotch doubles Platinum BCA with my partner Amy Peterson, and we got third place last year, and then went 2-0 hill both our matches this year. But it's not easy out there. Like I said, we went from third to going 2-0, and I thought we played a little better this year in a lot of respects than we did last year. You got to get the rolls, and when you get the final game, hill, you got to make it happen. And in Scotch, it's so weird. You oftentimes, players miss balls in Scotch. They never miss in singles,
And I think it's a little bit of the focus of I've got to play perfect for my partner.
Exactly.
Instead of just making the shot, give them a look. I don't care if it's hard or not.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a look. It's far better than missing the shot and not getting to shoot.
Well, even this dynamic, I left Amy one time a very straight in 8-ball this year, and she missed it. And she told me, she goes, it was almost awkward because from the position we were in, you got me so good on the ball that I knew if I missed it, I was going to be devastated. So there was other pressure of like, hey, look, my partner just played this great shot, put me straight in on the ball. Well, now if I miss it, I let him down, I let everybody down, myself, blah, blah, blah. So there's another, kind of bit of added pressure in Scotch.
Oh, it's a team sport.
Yeah,
so
it's tricky.
It is definitely more pressure. If you lose on your own, well, shit, I lost. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck,
I miss all the time.
Yeah, you're used to it.
Yeah.
And you go home, you cry all the way home, you pout, you
cry on your
drink.
pillow, drink it away. I know that story.
I think that is more so when you shoot Scotch.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're carrying the load.
And it's one other person.
Yes.
You directly, when you're playing 5-man teams, you kind of have the whole team to suck up your bad energy. In Scotch, it's just that one person that's going, really? That was you? You missed that ball? Good job. Good job. Yep. Go, I don't know. Go do whatever you do. Yeah, appreciate that, bud. Yeah. Next year, yeah, we'll definitely play together. Yeah.
Okay. No, but it was fun. And not knowing, I know she played good. I've watched her shoot many
Yeah,
times.
she's a multi-time amateur champion.
Absolutely. And it's like, okay, do I leave her a bank, or do I really try and push this ball somewhere where it's a better shot?
Sure.
Or do I make it simple and leave her a bank? Yeah. Turns out she breaks pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
and so,
absolutely.
And it didn't matter what you left
She's
her.
very solid all the way around. She's
Absolutely.
really, her 8-ball IQ is really high too. Smart decisions.
Is what makes her the best amongst the amateurs around there.
Absolutely.
She knows the cue ball. She knows to handle it. She knows how to make it simple. She's not trying to spin. She doesn't use spin. Now, can she? Absolutely. She can wing that ball around, but very rarely. It is very, very easy. Way easier. Women just think easier than men. I got to make shit hard.
Okay.
I got to spin across everywhere.
You heard it here, folks. Women are smarter than men. Jon Amo said it.
They are. There's no doubt in my mind they are.
All right. Well, you have your opinion. I have mine. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, but you know what, though? It was cool that you got a BCA champion. Actually, in 14? So it's 18. So in 4 years, you went from having no VNEA or BCA titles to having each of them, one of each at this point. I mean, that's strong, man. That's really strong. Took me a decade,
Well, you're a little slower than most.
I'm a slow learner. I got to fail a lot before I come through with something.
It's a team dynamic. We won the VNEA Masters in
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
That's the same year I took, I think, 6th or 7th in the Open division the same year.
Yeah, you had a good year. Yeah.
And then I didn't do very well in BCA, but then we came back and BCA took 3rd teams, which was a huge.
Oh, yeah. Tell them a little bit about that experience. You guys, how many teams were in that field?
Oh my God.
Many. It was a ton.
588 or something like that a couple years ago. It was undoubtedly one of the hardest things mentally to do, to go team after team after team.
And that was a team of Joey Ryan, who now resides in Phoenix, used to be here in Denver, Chisholm Woodson, McDaniel, right?
Chris McDaniel.
Yeah, Chris McDaniel, great player here out of Denver. Jon Amo, of course, and Jeremiah Gage, another great player from here in Denver. Really solid guy.
Yeah, it was a fantastic team where I think we were a good mix. And Adam, we've talked about this so much. A good team on paper doesn't necessarily mean a good team on the table.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And, when we did Masters, I don't think we were the best team. I was the weak link on the team.
Oh, you mean in 2014 when we won? Oh, no way. If we just played one-on-one with everybody in the field forever, we would have been somewhere in the middle maybe. But as a team, we outshined a lot of other teams.
And I think it was an incredible group of players. I mean, it was,
of course, a lot of talent.
Adam King, Richie Cunningham, Chris McDaniel,
Ruben Silva,
Chris Oneski.
I would say Chris Oneski and
Ruben Silva. We had a dynamite team, but the difference is we were a good group that melded together easily.
I'll give Richie Cunningham, who was our captain that year, a lot of credit. Richie really understands excuse me. Richie really understands how to hold a team together, hold the team spirit together. He never lets you get down. He's always showing you goofy stuff and ha, and he understands how to break the tension so that you can go out there and play without so much on your shoulders.
Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. Ruben was the same way.
Yeah.
Oneski was the same way. You and I have always...
Yeah, we've always gotten along well.
We've always gotten along well.
Laugh a lot with the team.
So that was the difference. Even though you lost, you still, in your heart, in your gut, you hated it and felt sick.
Guys that you like, you just play harder for. I make better shots in teams than I ever make for myself because I just don't even think of them for myself. I'll give up before I think of that complicated, shot that maybe I'll shoot for the team. But for the team, I'll think about it for forever. It probably doesn't take that long in reality, but it feels like I think about it for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll think of something that's really clever, that's better than I would have done normally.
Adam, you don't think of anything clever.
Well,
it was like the most
takes
basic
me a long
shot.
time.
So instead of kicking at it, I'll just shoot it straight in. Okay, yeah, that's clever.
I see how it is. Oh, God. And we're done.
Yeah. No, but that was a phenomenal year. So between and for rights, I never really was a pool shooter up until that 2013 to 2014.
Sure,
and
you
that
really
wasn't until I really excelled.
You
there.
started showing up on the scene. You started the big deal. You've told me before. You started playing around good players.
Yeah,
pretty much exclusively.
Exclusively, you have to change it up, and I got to thank a lot of people. Chris Oneski, one of the
I know Chris helped you a lot.
Fantastic mentor, and he's a phenomenal player.
Well, Chris Oneski has beautiful fundamentals. His stroke is a stroke that anybody can learn from. And, real smooth.
Yeah, and playing with him every 2 nights a week, a couple hours a night, and Chris just kind of took me under his wing, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize it. It took me beating after beating after beating, and it's like, why can't I win? And then it just clicked.
What clicked?
What's that?
What clicked? What was that?
It just like the light went off, and it was
the light went
like,
off. I think the light went on.
Oh yeah, went on. No, I went down.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
The light went on, and it was, don't touch anything. Don't touch shit.
Sure.
Only touch
yeah.
something if you have to. Smooth, shorter. Don't move the cue ball. Yep. Don't run into anything. I don't care if you have to bank the ball. Don't break it out. Bank the ball.
Yep.
And that changed for me huge.
Sure.
And then started going down that path. Sure. And then
it's one of the most important things people can learn in 8-ball. Don't mess with the rack if you don't have to mess with the rack. You see guys wing into clusters all the time and break them apart and then get all pissed off when they're hooked. And it's like, hey, man, if there was any other way to do that, you got to do it that other way,
Absolutely.
And, you bump balls into trouble a lot more than you bump them into free space where you can shoot them, it seems like.
Yeah, especially how I did it.
Oh, right. Harder the better.
The harder the better. Yeah. And making things hard for yourself also makes you a good shot maker.
Oh.
I mean, look at it.
Yeah, exactly. So John's got a lot of experience with that.
Oh, yeah. No problem. I pulled a 3-rail bank out on Adam the other night. It was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. It's all the time on me. Yeah. And speaking of 3-rail banks, the 3-rail bank shot that Richie Cunningham made to beat Spain in the semifinals in 2014, still one of the best shots I've ever seen anybody make.
I can see the shot in my head.
I know.
But I wish it was on video somewhere.
Yeah, it was powerful, man. He tried to break a 7-ball out from the rail 2 different times. And I think one time he did hit it, but it double kissed away and it didn't get off the rail. So eventually he gets into a place where we don't know what he's going to do. We're like, I think he's trying to maybe make it off another ball. And then he calls it 3 rails, thinks about it for a minute, and fires it in.
1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, he fires it in for sure.
3-rail bank, and then leaves himself on the 8, and we have to win this game.
Yeah, we have to win. It's hill, or it's like right there.
And then he leaves himself a backwards cut, only one pocket available.
And it's really far away from the hole.
It really
the 8-ball is, that is.
Away, backwards cut. And he hits that thing 10,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, and he one-stroked it. He got down with that little sidearm flick he does. He was like, flick. And I was like, uh-oh. He's going to, this will be the one he'll dog. And he just fires it straight down the rail. Boom.
And center of the pocket.
And I think that got us to Hill, right? Or did that win us the match?
I think that got us to Hill.
I think it got us to Hill because they were on the hill first. Yeah.
And then that's when the guy scratched and threw his cue down at the same time.
Yeah, this poor guy from Spain, Hill, and the guy's a phenomenal player, by the way. He gets up there, crushes the rack, and he watches the cue ball on his follow-through. He sees the cue ball fly off the table, and his cue is still following through, and he just, in one single nonstop motion, followed through, raised his cue in the air, and threw it on the ground. It looked like a dance move. But poor dude. And then who got out there?
I think you did.
Was it me?
I think you ran out that rack and
I'm a hill kind of winner, John. I like the pressure.
yeah. Well, that helps when you get ball in hand.
Yeah, ball in hand's big move. But
so
no,
that was real interesting. So that was fun. So that, I mean, enough about that. It's
for sure. It's good though.
We all try to excel at certain things. You keep practicing. I watch a lot of videos more so now than ever before.
Sure.
Old videos. And I like watching stuff from the 80s, mid 90s, because I think that was a different game back then than today.
Absolutely.
And so that excelling your pool knowledge is on the table and off the table.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
My off the table is watching video. We have a plethora of information on the net now.
So much. The last 10 years even have changed it so much more. You can find any player, any match, any time any time period. People have been gracious enough to upload all these old 90s and 80s videos, sometimes even older, and you can see the evolution of all these players, and it really helps you learn the game.
I will guarantee you, Adam, if you ever get to a finals, sometimes we might be able to watch you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If I ever got to one. You know what? I ended up winning that Laramie tournament, the Gillette. I made a podcast about it.
It was so fun, too.
And you did the commentary on a lot of that. And I think they took those videos down, man. I was pissed.
Oh, really?
Well, I had him on that Chris not Renfro, the guy that runs, I can't remember the name. I'm sorry. I had nothing against that guy. But him and Josh Raymond got in a fight. That's where Josh was putting all his videos on there. And now I think they took him down, which sucks. But anyway.
But that was a fun event because it was a role reversal from the previous event we went to 3 months earlier.
You won, yeah.
Where I won the tournament. Adam
got you in Calcutta.
Got me in the Calcutta.
Yeah.
And then we turn around, we go to the
Gillette tournament.
What was the name of it?
The Energy City Classic.
Energy City Classic 9-ball. And there's the trophy.
Yeah.
We both got in, and I tell you, Adam and I have the worst luck. We go up there as road dogs.
God.
We go to play. We go through the Calcutta, and I ended up getting part of Adam in the Calcutta, and we play each other first round. And it went hill, I think.
Yeah, you played really well.
And
I got
Adam
a little love.
beat me.
Got a little love.
And then it just kind of went on, and I ended up losing. So I ended up sitting there and formed a little friendship with Tanner Pruis.
Yeah, the great Tanner Pruis.
Yeah, we chatted for a while. We watched the event, and I had part of you in the Calcutta, and I had who'd you play? Sam Cordoba.
Oh yeah, I know
I
you
had
did
him
well.
in the Calcutta,
Yeah.
and so I sat there and cashed in. I didn't
I
even win
know
anything.
that was awesome. Yeah, you won over 1,000, right, or something?
Oh, it was a couple thousand.
Yeah, a couple thousand right there. That's awesome. Jeez.
Yeah, just not winning.
Hey, sometimes you win when you don't win. But no, so that was good. Similar thing to you though. I just my focus was better. In a nutshell, it was just my focus was better that tournament.
It was the exact role reversal from the other tournament.
It really was.
We were like, all right, let's go to bed.
I know.
Let's go to bed. Back to the hotel.
Something
go
to eat.
bed.
I didn't drink while I was there.
Nope.
Yep.
And it was a total different mindset. It was just a role reversal.
Sure.
I had
focus.
Just the way it was.
Focus is everything. I mean, that really sums it up. Really being clear-headed about what you want to achieve. That's in all your life, I think. I mean, that's the challenge, to get that clear-headedness, to have that focus. But
yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. And all right, yeah, enough about that. I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing me rattle on about focus and how to win these things. But John put together some really good data on the VNEA and the BCA national tournaments. And it definitely, some of the information shocked me. I love both the events, but I have always been pretty partial to BCA. The production value is a bit higher as far as how the floor plan looks and the lighting. There's a lot more vendors, and I've been going to the BCA since I was 17, and it's kind of holds a special place in my heart. And I always just kind of figured that the BCA numbers-wise was far more powerful than the VNEA. And John, through running some of the numbers for the last 4 years, and he could only get data back to 4 years ago, kind of told a different story. And what did you learn about that, John?
Well, before we get to the numbers, I'd just like to say a few comments about what did we witness this year during the event.
Sure.
Right? We went to the BCA event. Like you say, it's the production value is extremely high.
Yes.
It's really kind of the seems to be the bigger of the two events and prestigious.
Absolutely. In prestige, the BCA just seems way more prestigious.
Way more prestigious. But this year struck me as, where are the people?
Oh, yeah.
It's like every night we're down there practicing. We got our focus. We're doing our thing. And the room seemed empty.
Yep.
Right? And as the week went on, you start hearing the vendors were talking, oh, they're down, 20%, they're down 30%. The vendors aren't getting the foot traffic, so I assume then they are down as well.
Sure, of course.
And then the team events come, and you're like, okay, singles is over. We're gonna get this big rush of people in there.
Sure.
The gambling hall's gonna be more people. The food's gonna be longer to get.
Yep.
I did not feel that this year.
No.
At all. And the back room was missing
several tables.
I don't know, is it 10 or 20
hard
tables?
to say, but definitely less tables. And for those of you that have never been to the BCA tournament, generally it usually kicks off with the 9-ball tournament, and there won't be that many people there. The 9-ball tournaments will get a few hundred people or something like that. But then 8-ball comes up, or the Scotch doubles and the singles 8-ball comes, and the place will be pretty flooded with people. And then when team shows up, you can't even move in that room in years prior. There's people everywhere. You go down there at 3 a.m, there's people everywhere practicing, getting ready. This year, if you went down there past midnight, man, there were
ghost town.
75% of the tables or more were open.
Oh, I would probably say 90%. It was almost a ghost town.
Yeah, and then during the first couple matches, when all the teams would still be in the tournament, it was very noticeable. You could move easily through the hallways. It was obviously down in participation.
It's and that struck me when we came back. I started thinking about that. Just the overall feel of the event, and everybody started saying, "Yeah, we're down," and I'm like, "No, all right, some tables are missing. Maybe they're down a little bit, but I really wanted to know."
Sure. Which led you to do this research.
In order to stay being hearsay, you just got to go and tackle the numbers yourself.
It's tough because pool players love to complain about this and that, and the money's never right, and they're never running the tournament the right way, and all this. So it's good that you actually put together some solid numbers to show, like, this is what's actually happening. No matter what you want to believe, this is what's actually going on. And for those of you that don't know, the VNEA tournament, we've been talking about BCA so far, but the VNEA National Series, they do a bunch of very cool things. We'll kind of get into that. How about we go into VNEA and how they run their event, and then we'll go to BCA, because they're quite different.
Yeah, and all right, so I'm going to give you my perspective on the VNEA.
Yeah, man.
I think the VNEA is a fantastic tournament, and for multiple reasons. I think the people who run the tournament
are great.
Are great. They are fantastic people. They generally know most people by name.
Yep. They've been doing it for years and years.
And it's just a good tournament. It's easy to get to. It's easy to get around. Mm-hmm. You know when your match is going to be. And in fact, the brackets are up before you get there.
That's huge.
And so it makes it easier on you, so you know what you got to do when you get there, right?
What about location, too?
The location is just fantastic.
Yeah, Bally's Hotel and Casino.
You're right on the strip. You can get in. You can go over to another casino.
Sure, it's right across the street from the Bellagio, right in the heart of the strip in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. It's an older casino.
Sure, whatever.
I don't care, whatever.
Yeah, I don't even notice that really when we're there.
No, and I just feel the VNEA is probably a little dated in some fashion.
Absolutely.
But very current in other ways.
Sure.
Right? Their equipment, I think, is a little dated.
Well, without a doubt.
All right.
That table's from the 70s.
Yeah, the
60s maybe.
The mixer and some of that is probably a little dated. You have the same girls with the same getup.
Explain the mixer, John.
Oh,
for people that don't
I'm sorry.
know.
I speak like everybody knows.
No, it's okay.
So after singles events and before teams, VNEA has a little thing called the mixer that's outside of the main room.
It's out back of the casino.
Back of the casino. It's outside. And there they do a trophy presentation.
For all the singles winners.
For all the singles winners.
Scotch doubles, too.
Scotch doubles, singles. They do a parade of countries.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so every country gets to bring their flag in and represent. And that is a very cool event.
They give away free beer.
It is free beer.
Yeah, they give
beer.
free beer and snacks. But the stage hasn't been upgraded in a while.
Yeah, it's a little dated. So
the musical act hasn't been upgraded in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and Adam said it earlier, pool players like to bitch. Well, I'm bitching.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not saying I'm bitching. I'm just kind of making a general statement.
Sure.
Right? Because I love it.
The facts are the facts. It is getting dated.
Yeah.
It is, without a doubt.
But you can't ask for really a better event, how it's ran.
No, it's fantastic.
So it might seem a little dated, but how they run the event, the brackets and all that is right on par. It's fantastic. Absolutely. The thing about the VNEA that's so tough, and we'll get and look at the BCA in a minute, but because you are playing on valley tables, everybody's like, oh, the pockets are so huge. Well, you go play the table.
Yeah, it's not easy.
And it is not easy.
Yeah.
So every table you go to can play a little different. You could have a dead rail. The cloth isn't there.
The cue ball's tough.
The cue ball's tough. There's a divot in the slate. You know, it's a tough tournament to win.
Sure.
Without a doubt.
Difficult to control your cue ball over the diamond table for sure.
For sure. I think it makes you play harder.
Absolutely.
You've got to have better cue ball.
You got to think.
Oh,
you really
I hate
have to
that
think.
part.
I know. That's my worst attribute. I don't like
I don't want to think at all.
Yeah.
I want to point, aim, shoot.
Exactly.
But you can't do that in Valley. You have to look at the table, play on the table, and you know what? You can't bitch about the table, though. You can complain that it's harder to play on the table and there's something wrong with it, but your opponent has to shoot it on it too.
Sure.
So it's
same for everybody.
It's an even playing field. So yeah, it might not as good of equipment, but your opponent has to play on it too.
Sure.
So who figures it out better?
And it's kind of a battle of wills of like who's going to put forth the effort to figure out this piece of equipment at the moment, where the diamond table doesn't really take that kind of effort a lot of times.
No, it doesn't, because all the diamonds play
pretty similar
table to table. So you know what you're getting to. Valley, you don't fucking know what you're getting into. You can get the worst table.
You want to bank a ball? Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. I'm cutting that somewhere. Right? I don't know where, but I'm cutting it.
Yeah. But no, the VNEA is a great tournament. The location, I think, easily better than BCA, holding it at Bally's, no doubt. It attaches to the Paris Hotel, right across the street from Bally's. 5-minute taxi ride from anything.
Flamingo's right there.
Yeah, the Flamingo's right there.
There's a cool little walking street in between the Flamingo and the other one.
The Paris or whatever.
Yeah, there's just so much to do right there.
Exactly.
Because we are encapsulated.
Planet Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right there. And that's part of the experience, right? You're there. Everybody has a different mentality, but I'm there to shoot pool first. Then I'm on to other things after pool. Of course,
you're on vacation too a little bit. You know, I mean, for us guys that take it a little too seriously, it doesn't always feel like a vacation. But at the end of the day, you also want to have fun there. You're spending a lot of money to be there, a lot of time away from work and family. And I think you have a little more fun at VNEA nowadays. For those of you that don't know, I think in 2000, was it 13, they made the move, John? BCA?
BCA made it, it was think it was 13 or 14.
Yeah, BCA used to be held at the old, now defunct and torn down Riviera Hotel and Casino, which is used to be across the street from the Circus on the, I don't know, what's that, the south end of the strip or
I think it's the north end.
north end of the strip, one of the ends of the strip, and
Stratosphere
yeah, near the stratosphere,
side.
near the stratosphere by the old where the old Sahara used to be. But anyway, they moved out to the Rio now. BCA did, and the Rio is not on the strip. It's about a quarter mile off the strip, and that makes all the difference in the world.
It's not walking distance.
No, it's not.
Because you got to go over this big bridge. And,
Well, it's like 150 degrees. Like,
yeah.
You die of dehydration before you get
Hell,
there.
you'll walk 3 miles before you even get out of the casino parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. But hold on, I jumped off track there though. Let's stick with VNEA. What kind of numbers have you seen as far as growth or not over the last 4 years of VNEA?
Well, this is going to be interesting, and we're going to talk about the VNEA, but then we're going to talk about BCA. But I'll try and bring them together at the end a little bit more.
Sure.
But really, I wanted to know how the BCA was performing against VNEA versus Valley.
Sure.
Right? I wanted to see where it was at. Well, there's some interesting things that came up, I think. So this year, Valley was up 4% in teams. All right, well, that's important. So what does 4% mean? That means they went from 742 team event participants to 774.
Okay.
That isn't the big one. The big one are the singles. They were up over 20%.
Wow.
In single events.
Sure.
So they went from about 2,400 in 2017 to almost 2,900 entrants in single events.
We talked about this too. People say, 4% in teams. The thing about it, every team, though, consists of 5 people and all their friends and other players they may have convinced to go along with them that maybe just stayed for singles or whatnot. It's a big deal if you can just get even 10 or 15 more teams.
Oh, it's huge. Mm-hmm. So when I look at that and I say, what's happening with Valley by the numbers, they're growing 2 to 5% year over year.
Wow.
For entrants on teams.
Sure.
All right. But when I look at single events, they are growing quite well. So you think of 2014, they had 1,900 entrants. They almost had 2,900 entrants for singles.
Really?
So you're talking about 1,000
people.
Participant difference.
From 2014 to 2018.
2014 to 2018.
Wow, that's strong.
Now, the other side of that is what happened between 2014 and 2018 at Valley. So obviously they opened up more groups to shoot
in.
Divisions.
More divisions.
So now you've got, the classics, which is 50 plus, I think it is. You've got, and this does not include redemptions, by the way.
Oh,
this is just standard divisions, no
Sure.
redemptions, no second chance, because I feel the people are there already.
Sure. Those don't count.
Don't include them in the totals.
But I mean, they do what? Open, advanced, and masters?
They do open, advanced, masters, and subdivisions of those. So just think, you got to have the classics. Up to 50, then you have...
So they have a senior division.
The senior divisions.
And plus, the women's divisions. There's
plus the women's.
2 of each of those, yeah.
Yeah, 8-ball, 9-ball. So there's a lot of that going on. And when you think about teams as well, Valley does not do a 9-ball team event. BCA does.
BCA started that a couple years ago.
So when you look at that, they're up 4% on teams without a 9-ball division team event.
Oh.
So think about that too.
Okay.
When we go through some more numbers.
No, that's interesting.
the other thing I just want to point out, I guess from this perspective, when I'm looking at it, is the payouts.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, what everyone's interested in.
So we really want to talk about the money.
And this
right?
is where I was very shocked to hear.
The money at the Valley is pretty darn good compared to the BCA.
Yeah, explain that, man. Pays more, pays deeper.
It pays more, it pays deeper. So I'm just kind of looking at like the top tier team event, right? The Masters team, which is really the epic side of the team events.
Sure.
They pay out 10 grand for that division. And when you go look at BCA in the similar division, they're paying out $4,000.
Wow. And what kind of participants are we talking?
Okay, so BCA had 18 teams, $4,000
For the win.
for the win. Actually, I need to go back there. I lied to you.
Oh, don't lie to us.
I fib a lot. It's $9,000 for the Masters at Valley.
Yeah, in VNEA, you get $9,000 as a team to win the Masters.
Correct. For BCA, it's $4,000.
Okay,
All
and
right?
how many teams in VNEA?
Wow. 14.
14 teams, you get $9,000 to win.
Correct. BCA, 18 teams, 4,000.
Sure.
So, what do you take from that? I mean, to me, that's double the money for the same amount of teams.
It's gigantic, yeah.
It's huge. How does that happen?
Does BCA pay deeper for teams?
Well, teams, I can't tell you 100%.
I think BCA pays like one round deeper. But that doesn't justify all that money, by the way. But
no.
It's just interesting to see. And I don't know the BCA's expenses, and I'm not trying to talk trash about them. These are just the numbers. I was very surprised to learn that VNEA, pays deeper in the field in their singles events, and you get paid more to win.
Yeah, and that's another point. In the BCA, if you place in singles divisions, they pay the top 64. If I remember, I'm going to go back to my numbers here just to be sure.
In BCA. Make sure to talk into the mic a little bit, John.
Okay, so BCA paid out to 96 in single events.
Okay.
So 96 entrants, they get at 96th, they get $150.
Okay.
Okay? Valley pays the top 196. All right? 2 more rounds.
Sure.
They pay out. But at Valley's 96 spot was equal money.
Oh, I see.
At 96th place, it's 150 at BCA. 96 at Valley, I think it was 140. But I'm going to call it the same
very
money.
Similar money.
Okay?
Yeah.
But they're paying 2 rounds deeper
Sure.
in the Valley.
That's strong.
And so Valley is really giving back more to the players.
Yeah. Plus
And
doing
an
the mixer,
opportunity.
plus giving the free beer. And also, they have a big awards ceremony, Valley does.
Valley puts on a very good award ceremony at the end of the event. So you have the mixer for singles,
Yep.
right? Then you have the big event for teams.
Yep, at the end, they hold a big celebration.
We got to be up on the stage for that one.
Yeah, we did. It was very cool. But they do a banquet and pretty good food. You
Banquet,
get food. They have a comedian and a band and all this.
Yeah, so they're really... I think the Valley does a way better job in putting the players on the pedestal.
Absolutely.
So BCA, this year we won the platinum. Jessica and I won the platinum division doubles. It's basically, here's your trophy. They hand it to you at the payout desk. Here's your trophy. Go get your picture taken.
Yeah, in a little room with a blue screen.
In a little room with the blue screen. Okay. Great.
You don't even get a high five.
No. you get a check a day later, but
Yeah.
you don't get a high five.
No, that is interesting. And we talked earlier about how BCA feels like the more prestigious one to win. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting. And the other thing, too, open division at the Valley.
Okay.
All right. We talked about the 96 196 payouts.
Sure.
So Valley pays deeper.
Mm-hmm.
They also pay $800 more for first.
Wow.
So it's not like they're cutting the money off the top to
give
pay
it to the
it
bottom.
deeper.
Yeah.
They're paying higher on the top, and they're paying deeper in the event.
Sure.
You know,
And I would love to talk to them about that because, okay, so you got Valley, who is paying to have a hotel or venue on the strip, right in the middle of downtown or, whatever, the strip. And they pay more. So how is the production cost that much more for BCA, that it takes all that money to run? I mean, I wonder if Mark Griffin that owns Diamond, I mean, is he just charging a lot for the tables or where's it going?
well, that is another interesting topic is you're right. Where is it going? And I think BCA did one of the worst things in the last couple years.
What's that?
They took away the pros out of the tournament room.
Oh, yeah. Mark Griffin opened his own room. He took over the old Pool Sharks, and he calls it Griff's now there in Las Vegas. And smart move on his part as far as, for his business interest. But he's holding all the pro events now at the Griff's Pool Hall that's about 2 miles-ish away from the Rio.
2 miles that most people fly into an event.
Yeah, you don't have a car.
And you can't get there.
Sure, and
You
they
can
used
take
to have a
taxi.
shuttle service, and they stopped using the shuttle service.
And the other thing, too, is, in my honest opinion, taking the pros out of the event is what's also not keeping the people in the room for the vendors.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if you have the pros there, I mean, not everybody gets to see these guys. They come to this national event to see these guys play in person.
Absolutely. Shake some hands, say
Shake
hello,
some
take some
hands,
pictures.
watch them do their thing. I mean, you and I sat there in past events where Shane is in that room all night
Yep.
breaking.
Absolutely.
What does that tell you?
Well, you get to watch a guy, like Shane Van Boning show you a bit of his practice process, and you can learn from that. And people just love to watch it. It's special.
Absolutely.
And they took that out of the event, which you're right. I couldn't agree with you more. That affected it greatly.
They took it away completely and they moved it to Griff's. Okay, you moved it to Griff's. I understand the business side of it, what that does. Then you advertise a free shuttle.
That you don't have.
And then you don't provide the shuttle. Okay, now I got to take a cab, Uber, whatever. Let's go over there. Fine. Now you've got to pay to get into Griff's on top of that.
Sure.
And so before you used to be able to watch these guys shoot, you could talk to them. And most of them are very open. They'll talk to you.
Yeah. Most of those guys are great.
Yeah, they're great. And now you've segmented them off to
Sure.
where your average player who's in there doesn't get to see these guys now.
And, a lot of guys, too, pool is a blue-collar sport. A lot of the players that fly out to nationals, they're spending every dime they have just to get there. And now, and this is at both the casinos, the rooms are so expensive. The food is so expensive now. And now you're asking guys to go away from the venue via cab or whatever, and then pay to get in the door where you're hoping they buy drinks at your bar. You just keep squeezing these blue-collar guys, and as we can see from the VNEA numbers, they'll stop showing up.
And I wonder about that this year. So that is a big downfall for me for that. I think it was a horrible mistake. And
Well, talk about the numbers a little bit, John, for BCA. From 14 to 18, what are we looking at?
well, this is where it gets more interesting. So we talked about Valley. They're up 20% this year in entrance for singles.
That's huge, 20%, man.
They're up 4% in teams, which is about 50 teams or 40 teams, we'll say.
Okay.
Here's another point I want to put out. Every event in Valley for singles has went up.
Wow, every
over
single division.
prior year. I want to give two exceptions. Open singles went down a couple people, and there's one other event that went down. Not significant. We're talking a couple players.
Sure.
All right,
So pretty much stayed even.
Pretty much are up across the board. Every
Gotcha.
single event. We move over to the BCA, and it's just astonishing. I mean, we said that during the event this year, we didn't see as many people walking around the foot track.
Not nearly as many, no.
So their teams are down from 1,121 to 952.
Wow.
So 1052, you're down 150 teams.
Over prior year or since
over
14?
prior year.
Wow.
So, I'm sorry, 1045 to 952, 100.
Okay.
About 100 for Bartok.
But that's 500 people.
Plus.
Sure, 500 people plus, exactly.
So when we said team events, you get this big rush of people in. People are playing all night long to survive that first day.
500 people in those rooms. I mean, that's a ton. That's a ton of people. And like you said, plus their friends and family come too.
It was bare. I could not believe it. 8 o'clock at night, that room was a ghost town.
Sure, I'm used to having to rush down there and trying to find a practice table and just squeezing in. You hope you can hit a rack or two before somebody comes and pushes you off table for a match. I could practice as much as I wanted down there this year. I mean, which is nice, but
it's
scary.
really sickening.
Scary for the event.
So you're down about 100, Bartok 100 teams. Now let's talk about singles, because a couple things happened. Last year they had 2473 entrants.
Of total singles
entrants. Total singles entrants. This year, 1,994.
Wow.
So you're down 470 participants.
Wow.
In singles.
That's so many.
470.
And what did we say? 470? And if they had those teams, they'd be around 500 people that they'd need. I mean, there's all your teams right there.
No,
hand in
because
hand.
that's singles. So you take the 500. Oh, 100.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You had 100 missing teams, which is roughly 500 people.
Yep.
And you're missing 470 entrants from singles. I don't think that's a coincidence.
So by the numbers and percentages, BCA is down 19% participation in singles.
Wow.
Valley is up 19%.
From prior year or from 2014?
From prior year.
Wow.
So one is up, the other one's down. Do I think that's a coincidence?
No.
No.
No way. Yeah.
But something else major happened this year. We haven't even got to the insane for the BCA to have all these events and you can pay. So you have the CSI events.
Oh, sure.
You got the BCA events.
The
USAPL.
USAPL events.
Events. But you cannot coexist in all of them. I want to play USAPL, but I can't play BCA because if matches overlap, then you have to forfeit.
Sure.
I do not forfeit matches except for one.
Well, yeah. For those of you guys that don't know out there, so the BCA Nationals, they have a subdivision called the USAPL. It's a league that they own or are in partnership with, and the tournament kicks off with that league. It's a little bit softer player-wise. Currently, it's handicapped far deeper. And but the thing is, if you want to come and participate in the USAPL and the BCA singles, you can't do that. Okay, and now there's another event called the CSI events that are another subdivision of the BCA. It's kind of their merchandising end in a way. They host events that are open to everybody. So the professionals can come and play in the bar table events, which they do. However, if you are playing the regular BCA tournament, you can't participate also in the CSI event. So there's 3 events going on, but you're only allowed to compete in one of the events without forfeiting some of your matches. So it makes it very awkward there in the room, and it kind of pisses a lot of people off.
Well, let's just think about this. A player joins USAPL League. They donate every week.
Sure.
They play BCA, donate every week. Mm-hmm. And now they want to play and go to nationals.
Sure.
And they can't compete.
Yeah, you have to choose.
You have to choose. And it's a shitty decision.
It's
a shitty place to be in. If I go to nationals, I want to play every event. I'm already there.
Sure.
I want to
play there to play pool. Let's
everything
do it.
I possibly can.
Absolutely.
And then if I want to dip into the CSI events,
sure, dip
you
a little
can't.
toe in.
Yeah. You have to make. And where do you go?
Well, it's like for me, I go there to play Platinum Division. Well, you as well, and I want to play also with the pros, but I want to play in the division that I have a better chance of winning as well. And they take that away from you. And it's just frustrating. And I get it logistically from their end. They're probably saying, oh, look, man, I don't have all the time in the world. I can't schedule this everywhere. But it does make it a little frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
And I hear people bitch about it every single year I'm there. Why? What is this? Why can't I play this? And then it affects teams because you'll have a BCA team that's been together all year, but they have 2 of their members that are committed to a USAPL team. And now it breaks that team up, kind of creates a little animosity between the team members. And then you have maybe where you would have had a BCA or a USAPL team and a BCA team. Now you maybe don't have either. I've seen that happen too. You just go for singles and you don't even make a team.
Yeah, and you're committing to your players.
Of course.
During the year, you're playing all year in a session
forever.
with those players. And you know how it is when it comes to nationals, you struggle to put a team together that's going to show up.
It's very difficult.
So now you got to say, okay, what are my chances that they're all going to show up and all these guys are going to show up?
Yep.
And that's a struggle too.
And you hear about horror stories every year of one guy on a team, I'll be there. And then 2 days before the event, he's not there. And it just, people have to forfeit. It's awful.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
So that's just interesting. So let's go back now. When Adam was talking about the subdivision of the CSI, prior years, you were allowed to show up at the event, pay a $25 CSI fee, and you could join and play any single event you wanted.
Yeah, this is a really good point.
But not teams, which is okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
But you could pay $25. You could show up and play a singles event.
Sure, and I did that several years actually. I went all year. I didn't have a team. You could sort of wait until the event came up and then say, you know what? I have enough money. I'm feeling good about my game. And you could just pay the $25 sanction fee, show up the nationals, and compete like normal. And they took that away. And you have a statistic on that, don't you, John?
Well, what I'm kind of looking at is because they took that away, they're down 20%, 19%.
Sure.
Is it coincidence that Valley went up for the guys that wanted?
They just wanted to play singles.
So what if you're a VNEA
sanctioned league player, and you went to BCA to play because you don't have BCA? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, in your region. See, okay, maybe some people, you don't realize this. If someone hasn't decided to go through all the rigmarole to put together a BCA league in the city or region that you live in, well, you might not even have the option of qualifying for a BCA league. Well, for all those guys that still wanted to play in the prestigious BCA events, they could just pay $25, show up, and play singles like normal. Well, this last year, BCA decided to not allow those players to do that anymore. I suspect to try to strengthen their league system to say, hey, if you want to participate in BCA singles, you have to play all year long, pay your sanction dues, et cetera, et cetera. However, from what we're seeing with the numbers, that did not work out in their favor, at least not so far.
Well, we don't know for sure. So I guess the question is, are people tired of the Rio?
I would say yes.
are tired of the expensive rooms. They're tired of
The food is so
capturing
expensive.
you in that casino
Yep.
and paying the high price for the food.
Yep.
The extended walk to get to the room, which that's not a big deal for me.
It's Vegas. You got to walk a lot. Yeah.
Is it enough that it swayed players like, I'm not going to the Rio. It's too freaking hot, expensive for the room,
Sure.
it's expensive to eat, and the payout is not that great.
Nope.
So think about that. Is that a coincidence that enough to push people over to go to Valley? I think the people are nicer. The venue is in a perfect location.
Yep.
You've got tons of options. It's not so hot.
Yeah.
You get recognized. Oh, so let's think about this. You get recognized for your achievements. Mm-hmm. So I was lucky enough that I got voted in for an all-star team.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of all that 2014, I did that. You got on that all-star team.
The all-star list.
They send you a little...
Yeah, I've got one over here somewhere.
Yeah, they sent you that. How cool is that?
It's awesome.
What do you get from the VNEA or BCA?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, even the trophies. Where there's one, one right there. It's just a little glass guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, but
and everybody wants that Charlie.
I would say I got
a
bunch of Charlies on top of my bookshelf here. Yeah, it's
those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're meteor. It's a heavy trophy. It's got it's the name well displayed on it. It looks cool, man.
It's a significant trophy. Everybody wants that Charlie.
Yeah.
Versus some people just are there for the money. I mean, we'd like to have a little piece of something. We consider it a big piece.
You spend the money, man. You spend the money so fast. I don't even know where I spent all my pool money. It's all gone in the toilet somewhere. But I still got these trophies.
So it's kind of interesting. I like both. I like the cash. I like the trophy.
Of course,
right?
They both have their value.
And it's nice to have. So we get first for platinum. We get this little trophy.
Yeah.
Right? I know another lady who got third place in USAPL that got a much nicer trophy.
Yeah, the USAPL trophies are awesome. Yeah.
And it's like, are you serious? But, I mean, it's quite okay. But
well, you know what, though? When we're talking about amateur sports, amateur pool, you're competing for the experience. The money is nice. Obviously,
absolutely,
everybody likes to win money. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to show people when they come over, this is my mega trophy for winning the blah, 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 or for getting third place.
Yeah, don't make me stab you with your nice hand-carved knife or your Energy City Classic win.
But, you get these little BCA trophies, and there's definitely a lack of prestige there. Yeah. I think BCA they could soften a lot of the blow of what they're seeing right now, I think, by just really giving the winners something cool. Something they can be proud of.
Well, these changes happen. And I think there's an evolution of things that happen. But when have you ever said or heard, how about a survey from the BCA to the player? What did we do good? What did we do bad? What would you like to see changed?
Sure.
You know what? At Valley, I get asked that all the time from everybody that works it. Hey, how are we doing? What do you think? Is there something we can do better? Is something more accommodating to the player? Blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
But the BCA just makes an exclusive decision that they think best fits for everybody, like moving the pros out. Was that a higher level decision, or did they ask the players? I bet you if they polled the players said absolutely not.
Absolutely
I would not go,
yeah.
And I will not support that.
Sure.
And you're supposed to be there for the players.
Well, every good corporation, as we know from where we work, you have polls to the people, and you do it once or twice a year. And how am I doing? Keep your finger on the pulse. What are we doing good? What are we doing bad? Where can we improve? Because you're always struggling to get that extra 2%, all the time. What can we do?
You've got to do something more to capture your audience.
Absolutely.
And if you don't capture that audience, you will die a slow death.
Yep.
and let's at somewhat you and I are familiar with that we
Yep.
heard the thing about is BlackBerry.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you don't know the demands of your consumer of what do they want,
Sure.
they are no longer going to support.
Sure. And what John's referring to is, it was only 10 years ago when having a BlackBerry telephone was a huge deal. I mean, that was, everyone used it. They could price, with good margin to the market. Everybody wanted them. Corporations were buying them for their employees. But BlackBerry did not keep up with technology. And as soon as the iPhone came out and was saw to be a viable substitute, BlackBerry just sunk. And within 2 years, boom, gone.
And they didn't keep up with what their consumer. They
Sure.
didn't pull their consumer. Like you said, keeping the finger on the pulse.
Yep.
What do the players want? I can't tell you what BCA players want. I can tell you my opinion is bring the pros back. It brings
Sure.
more prestige to the event.
Yeah. If I were in charge of the BCA, I would be doing whatever I could to get the tournament back on the strip at any casino that would have them. Pool players don't care. Any casino where you could get it with enough floor space, get back on the strip and get the pros back in the arena. That would make it. I mean, just those two things. You could keep charging the same money, even I think, as the Rio, if you gave the value that being on the strip would achieve and having the pros back in the room with the amateurs.
I 100% agree with that, Adam. That's a good point. Now, here's judging by the numbers. BCA could say, and I'm going to get back into the vendors. We haven't talked about
we haven't talked about that yet.
So if BCA's argument is we have a bigger tournament, I stand to challenge that because when I'm looking at Valley participants, there's 2,800 singles to your 1,900.
That's not even close.
So, and Valley does a very good job about getting the matches through. All right. So teams 952 at BCA versus
You're okay.
774 at Valley. So there is a little bit of a significant difference in teams.
Sure.
But the other thing I want to point out too is because of the change of, we haven't talked about this, when Fargo came in.
Sure.
All right, so that's another factor.
That's a big deal. I know a lot of people that, of course, are not thrilled. I'm fine with it, but I know a lot of people are not.
Because you're in the upper tier, so you don't have a choice.
It actually
doesn't,
bug me anyway. I'm going to play with the same guys no matter
Jerk
what.
off.
Yeah. Well, you're right there, too.
So for that, you're already at the top tier, but how about this for the entrant? You pay a fee. A handsome fee to go to the BCA.
Oh, a handsome fee, yeah.
Meaning room, board, ticket, everything.
Yeah, flight, yeah, all that.
Flight and your entry fee. You have no idea what bracket you're in.
Oh, yeah. They just take, of whoever signs up, they take the top 15% and then the next 20% and the next 20% or however they divide it. But you're right. I played a couple of guys in Platinum this year that were like, hey, I play gold at home. Why am I in Platinum here? And it's because not enough Platinum players signed up. So this guy that would have otherwise been in the gold division got lumped into the top 15%.
That's right.
And there
at
you
the
go.
lower tier, and there's a huge difference from a 620
to a
680 or 700.
Oh, it's a huge difference.
So
would that guy have played if he knew?
Would he have played if he knew?
Probably not.
And if he knew he was going to be in the gold, maybe people would sign up.
Sure.
Maybe it's the uncertainty of what division
well,
am I in.
And look at your reputation. How bad did you piss that guy off this year when he's got to play all these 720 guys or whatever, 710 guys, and he's a 625, thinking that he's got a pretty decent chance to do well in the gold, and he just goes and gets waxed by a bunch of Platinum guys that he didn't even expect to be playing. That guy's pissed.
Well, let's talk about this. Not only do you not know till you get there, I was extremely disappointed in the BCA this year that matches were not posted till 9 p.m. the the day before.
Yeah, everyone was angry. Well, if you have a 9 a.m. match, you're trying to get food, you're trying to get to bed and plan your morning out so you can be ready. Well, these brackets, they're waiting until the very last moment to get you the bracket. So you're up and you're in a casino. You're not drinking milk and hanging out. You're having a beer and chilling and trying. And, lots of people's self-control, like mine, is not fantastic. You need to tell me as early as possible so I could plan my day.
I want to know exactly when I need to stop playing craps.
Yeah, exactly.
When do the dice go cold?
4 in the morning comes real quick with that craps table, let me tell you.
So that is a huge disappointment. In this day and age,
pain in the ass.
You can't tell me 9 p.m. people are coming down, sitting there waiting. Some people live there. And they're sitting around waiting,
of course,
until they can find their bracket.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Valley, you're either open, intermediate, master. You're in the bracket. They're posted a week before the event.
Yep. Boom.
You can go and know when do you show up. I don't play till 1 p.m. That means, guess what? I could fly in that morning if I choose to.
And I've done that. In prior years, I've done that. I'm like, you know what? I'll fly in that morning because we live in Denver. It's only an hour and 45-minute flight. It's easy to just drive up, hop on a plane, zip right over. There's no jet lag or anything because it's only a 1-hour time difference, and just get busy. Save yourself a whole day of hotel and whatnot.
A whole day of hotel.
Yeah.
So that to me, I mean, I'm getting these points of a couple negatives.
Sure. I'll say this show turned into like bitching about the BCA, which it was not supposed to be.
No.
Because both of us were saying we love the BCA. That tournament's amazing. It's my preferred tournament. Even after all this shit we've talked, BCA still in a lot of ways is my preferred tournament. But, we haven't talked a lot about the tables because it's a short conversation. The diamond tables at BCA, are just better.
Yeah,
absolutely. They just play better. There's no doubt about it. They're smoother. It's the number one table in the world. And that, for a lot of people, is worth all the negatives.
They want to go to a national event to play on good equipment.
Absolutely.
The best equipment. So,
and BCA provides that.
It's like going to the Moscone Cup playing on an Old Brunswick.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. They're going to play on the best equipment.
The best stuff.
And I'm with you. I don't go to the BCA for the money.
Nope.
I want to win the event.
Me too.
Because it's the prestigious thing. I think the level of quality of player is probably higher at the BCA as a whole.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I've played both of them for over 10 years, and that's no doubt. To win the Valley, you have to play very good. You have to be determined. But to win the BCA, you have to have a special performance. You have to play really good. And for a long time, too.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So it's not definitely a hating of the BCA here. It's more of I'm sharing the numbers and what does it allude to? What does it mean?
And I think a lot of people, man, 20% with the Valley being up 20% and the BCA being down roughly 20%, that's a shocker, man. That's a shocker.
The same amount of divisions, too. Even though there's open, master, intermediate in Valley, and they have all these other subdivisions, then you go to the BCA where it's the gold, platinum. What about we haven't talked about this, the trophy division.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot it existed until you told me that. Yeah, so BCA has
let me go back here real quick.
Please, go ahead. You know more about it than I do.
So what I'm saying is the same amount of divisions. And that's just what I want to point out. It's not like Valley's got less divisions. It's the same amount.
Okay.
Because they
Slightly
also have
different divisions.
9-ball, 8-ball, and the teams and this. It's the same amount of divisions. So go ahead. Let's go back to this trophy division.
No, so the BCA, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, the BCA has a trophy division where you pay money to participate, yet no money is paid back. You just get a trophy, right?
That's it.
That's
so you have
fucking crazy.
I don't
Who plays that? I mean, I don't. Not to hate on you guys out there playing trophy division,
Adam. These are the guys that really aren't in it for the money.
They're obviously not. Play the open. Play the whatever lowest division you can get in. The trophy division? Come on, meow.
Which is interesting because as far as I could go back with numbers, 2014 they had a trophy division. 2016 is when they started Fargo. And I purposely did not go to those events because I wanted to see how the Fargo thing was going to pan out.
Yeah, I'm not sure I played in 16 either. I wanted to dodge one year of it.
In 2016, they had 114 entrants.
In the trophy division.
In the trophy. Teams.
2016, they had 100 and how many?
114 teams.
114 teams 2 years ago in the trophy division.
Trophy. And then it went down to 107. Then
after people were like, this is whack. Yeah.
And then it went down to 61 this year.
Oh, yeah.
So half.
Yeah.
So where does that money go? If they pay a fee, it's got to be, they're paying a green fee.
Sure.
They're paying an entry fee.
That's crazy.
I didn't see their trophy, but I will be really pissed if their trophy is better than my first place platinum trophy is.
Man, I didn't think about that, but yeah, where's that money go? And I'm not even saying BCA is greedy and they're just pocketing it, but I'm saying like, where does it go? What are you doing with that money?
Yeah, and here's the other thing too. The money's regulated by amount of entrants.
Sure.
Right? But let's talk about Valley. They don't care how many teams get into the Masters.
Oh, you mentioned
the money stays the same. And from what I can see, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just looking at it, it looks like every 2 years they readjust. I think the Masters divisions get the same amount of money every year, but I think all the other divisions get adjusted by entrance is what I would guess.
Okay.
So that's pretty interesting.
That is.
But we haven't talked about vendors. What's the impact on our vendors? Okay.
And Valley, for those of you that do not participate in these tournaments, Valley Nationals has very few vendors. What do you think, John?
6 to 8.
Yeah, 6 to 8 vendors.
All in the same little square.
Sure, and they're in this relatively small space. BCA, however, tons of vendors, and all the big guys come out for it. A lot of fantastic cue makers are out there showing off their best wares. All the clothing companies come out. Guys with new machines, McCloskey.
Yep.
Josh McCloskey, a table leveling machine. He unveiled it at BCA. If you want to show your new ideas to the pool world, if you don't want to go to the Billiards Expo in Pennsylvania, you go to the BCA Nationals.
Absolutely. So now those vendors are paying, I would assume, a very handsome fee.
Very, I'd imagine.
To be a vendor there, right?
Absolutely.
And the vendors were saying, we're down 20%.
Wow.
In sales. I'm paying more of a premium.
Sure.
I'm down 20% in sales. The BCA is down in entrance. What are they doing for their vendors?
Sure.
BCA is controlling their entrance is due to their actions.
Sure.
Right?
And the vendors have to pay the price for that.
But now let's look at the vendors at Valley who should be benefiting of a 20% increase in participation.
Sure.
And the same amount of vendors. It's 6 or 8. That's it. They don't add any more.
Sure.
So for them, Valley, by all rights, should be a better venue for them.
Sure.
For those vendors.
Sure. There's less competition and more people.
And so now, look what you've done to your vendors. Are you going to be now cannibalizing your vendors at BCA because entrants are down unless you do something with the vending price? If you don't, because you have a fixed income or a fixed amount of income you need for vendors to supplement the room.
Sure.
And the vendors stop coming. Where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from the players.
Sure.
It's going to come from that. And the BCA or the Valley does not seem, it's the same amount of vendors. They already know the room rate.
Sure.
Here's the entrance fee. Blah, blah, blah.
And I'd love to know, is it cheaper to be a vendor at Valley?
I don't know that.
I would think it would be.
Vendors, speak up.
Man, we know a vendor. We should ask somebody.
I know a vendor.
We should ask somebody. I didn't think about that before this. That would have been smooth though to ask somebody. But we'll think about that because it's good. It's good information to know. You know, and by the way, we know that running these national events takes an incredible amount of work. And we love you, BCA. We love you, VNEA. But we are here. You know, we want to see pool get better.
Absolutely.
And the more information you have, the better it gets, I think. And no one else. I think this talk is probably exclusive to this podcast, the Railbird Radio podcast. And that's why I created it, was to talk about things like this that aren't getting out there to the public. And I do it completely for free. You might be like, yeah, it sounds like you do it for free. But at least we're here doing it.
It's just interesting because if there's anything that they can take from this, if they listen to this.
Sure. It'll get out there.
Is to ask your participants, what do they want to see in a national tournament?
Absolutely.
I've never been asked. I've been a VNEA, BCA member for years.
I've been playing them for 15 years now.
Have you ever seen anything? Tell us what we can do better. What is your opinion? What is that? I have never seen that. If they want to make it live, they better start listening to their consumers.
Sure. Like any other business.
Like any other business.
You know, the players are the consumer. Yep. And, you know, and I know players love to bitch about everything, but sometimes the players are right. You got to listen to them. You know, if 60% of your players are saying something, then you need to take it, you know, to heart.
And how about this year they don't provide the magic rack?
Ooh, like in prior years.
Prior years, they provided magic racks. This year, they did not. If you do not have one, you had to use wood rack. Then they ran out of magic racks.
People were like, okay, and you would think best case scenario for BCA, the players were willing to just buy the magic rack on site. And you know those things probably cost 3 cents to make, and people are buying them for $20 or whatever, and they ran out of them. It's like, come on, man. Have a little foresight with that. And maybe there's more that goes into making those things than we know, but that seemed like kind of a pretty big fail.
that was an interesting one. And then we saw, you know, you had to use the magic rack or wood rack. We had those guys with the turtle rack from New Zealand. Had those. And then they wouldn't let them use it.
Sure. Yeah, how brutal is that? So they don't provide a magic rack. And if you had a you know, quote-unquote magic rack that was of a different brand, you weren't allowed to use it because BCA owns the magic rack.
That's another interesting one. And I'm going to come on to this one because I think this has a valid... everything we talk about is valid.
Sure. Yeah,
that's just the way we are.
Yeah.
Like, this is
we're smart guys.
Tasty drink you have here,
smart
Adam.
Guys, yeah. Drinking a little gin and ginger ale. It's very, you know, keep it in your cabinet, folks. It's nice.
So let's talk about this, just going off another tangent here, Fargo rating.
Sure. That's a rabbit hole.
They have promoted Fargo rate as the #1 handicap system in the world.
Sure. And
no matter where you're at, who you're shooting, male, female, anything.
Absolutely. It's supposed to be the most fair handicap system ever devised.
So, if it's the most fair, why don't they pool all the players in one mega tournament?
I like where your head's at, John.
Because they say that ranking system, if you're a 480 and another guy's 600 or 690, the handicap is supposed to work. Kind of like the APA. So I'm going to dog on the APA a little bit. APA says they have the most fair system in the world.
Do they say that?
I think they imply that.
Okay. All right. It's implied. It's in the fine print.
It's in the fine print somewhere.
Yeah.
But then why are APA events bracketed by skill level?
Sure, because the handicap system is garbage.
It doesn't fucking work. That's basically what they're saying.
I got a quick answer.
I got to play the 3s and 4s together, the 5s and 6s, or 6 and 7s. You got to pull them together because we know it doesn't work. So we got to give this person.
And Fargo makes a big boast that a 490, playing a 650, that race is going to be fair. But then even with that, they had to split it up into the hot, medium, and cold, or whatever Fargo races.
Correct.
So what's that about? I mean, it was that because different regions are so much stronger, which is definitely true. Guys in LA are playing better than guys in, North Dakota. So
why is it the Platinum division, Fargo rated, and the race in the Platinum? You're all in the Platinums. So how come this guy that got in at 620 is playing the 700? Why isn't that match Fargo rated then?
I know, and it's not. We play even.
You play even.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel you.
And so if you're the guy that thought you were going to get into the gold, but you end up in the platinum, but it's Fargo rated, are you a little less devastated, or are you more hyped that I get a game or two?
Sure.
And I could play at the same speed?
I know a lot of guys would be hyped. Yeah, for sure.
So would that make a difference?
Probably. I mean, but you're bringing up the point that they're saying they have this phenomenal handicap system, and yet at nationals they don't handicap anything. You're just grouped by your league rating, which dude, at league I play like crap all the time. It depends on, maybe I've had a hard day at work, maybe I haven't slept well, maybe football was on and I drank 7 beers before league started or something. You never know. But at nationals you're there to play hard. You're playing a different guy.
That's right. So
I know it's tough. And by the way, BCA, we understand that you don't want us devising a handicap system either.
Oh, hell no.
It's really, really difficult. But, what do you do? What I would like to say is back in the early 2000s, so very early, 2001 or so, when I started playing, it was the BCA had 2 divisions, Masters and Open. And you had, 2,000 people in the Open division and 700 people in the Masters. And it was a ball. It was so difficult to do well that people really thrived on the challenge. You wanted to go. If you won 2 matches in the Open, you got your money back. So that was your first goal, win 2 matches. But you had to win like 14 matches to win the tournament or get in the top 5. It's really, really difficult. And people thrived on that challenge. Now, I feel like they've almost nerfed it, to use a video game term. Like, they've made it easier to win, but they took the human challenge element out of it. Now you win 7 matches, you win the whole thing. You're handicapped with your little group of guys that supposedly you play similar to, and it just doesn't seem to sell as well.
No. And I will tell you, the Grand Masters stopped in 2014. That was the last year of the Grand Masters.
And the Grand Masters was basically a high-level amateur event that the pros could play into. It was open, so if you thought you were better than the rest of all the amateurs and you played pretty much professional speed, you could play in the Grand Masters. And if you were a professional and you wanted to compete in the bar table event, you could also participate in this.
And so it brings up another point of pooling the men together. Should there be a women's event and men's event if the handicap system works?
You would think.
Then you should pull them together and have that one event.
And I know a lot of women that would love that.
They would
say, they would prefer it. I know a lot of women that do not want to play with the other women. They think it sucks.
Yep. And why is that? So this is another topic we could talk about. Why at a master level, platinum level,
sure,
woman.
Yep.
And I'm going to use my partner, Jessica Frieder.
Sure.
Okay. Why is their race 5?
Sure.
Less than the men's? If they play at that speed, at a Fargo rate that high,
yep,
why is their race lower?
Sure.
April Larson.
Yeah.
Okay?
April.
She's got to play a race to 5.
She's as good as anybody.
As good as anybody.
Yeah.
Why make her race less?
You know, and that is something the women still have a bit of a bias against them skill level wise. That I think you're seeing a lot of the modern women eclipse. And the fact that, you got, 18-year-old, maybe 19 now, April Larson out there that plays pro speed. You got to watch out, dude. If she played in the men's, she would have a very good chance to win the men's.
I 100% agree.
Sure. And more women are coming out like that all the time. And, Jessica Fighters talked a little bit about it. Kayla Huddleston in town here has talked a bit about it. They'd really prefer to play with the men. They want to see how good they can do. That pool is not a physical sport, particularly. There's no real reason you shouldn't be able to play side by side. And if the Fargo rate system is so good, why not have it at least a division where, you know what, this division's open to everybody. Women, men, you just play to your Fargo rate, get busy.
Yeah, and I think the women can join in the men's open.
Absolutely, they could.
So
yeah.
it's a thing of just pulling them together. If the handicap systems are so good, then why are they still bracketing them?
Sure.
That's my argument against them.
Of course. Yeah, and that's a good argument. Maybe one of the only really solid ones. I mean, how good is it? Yeah.
And so I'm really anxious to see now what happens the next 2 years for BCA.
I am very interested.
They moved the venue. This year it's still in July, right?
Oh yeah, they're changing the dates. Yes. This following year, 2019, is going to be a similar date, still in July, but then they are staying at the Rio Hotel and Casino, but they are moving the tournament eventually to March and then eventually to February, right, John? John's looking it up on his computer right now.
I can't remember 100%.
But basically, they're moving the tournament to very early in the year. Well, for all you guys that like to go to the Derby City Classic in January, you're going to go to the Derby and then immediately go to the BCA right after?
That's right.
Ooh, you got to have deep pockets to do that.
So this year, 2019, is July 17th through the 27th.
So similar, okay.
The 2020, it moves to March.
There you go,
11th through the 21st. That's early March.
That is early March.
Because you got to think, some people come to BCA as their summer vacation.
Oh, lots of people.
Lots of people.
Yep.
So now you're going to come in March and you got to change it?
Well, and you might, depending on the job you have, you might not have built up enough vacation to do that.
Oh, that's true. Because summer, earn as you go. By the time March comes, you don't have much.
Exactly.
So it's March 11th through 21st. 2021 is March 3 through 13.
Even earlier.
2022 is a little later March. And then in 2023, they're moving it early February.
So I was right, man. I have a good memory there. Yeah,
semi-good.
Semi-good, yeah. So they're moving it to March, and they steadily are going to push it to February, which they're saying that people have been asking for this for a long time. They want to move it out of the summer because Vegas is too hot in the summer, which I call BS. You're going to move it right in the middle of the school year, too, for the kids.
Oh, gosh, even think about that.
Brutal, man. Yeah, I think that they probably got a better deal from the Rio to host the tournament at that year, and then they get to say, okay, or at that time of year, and then, okay, Vegas will be cooler. Sure, that is a nice benefit. But I tell you what, I don't want it to be in February or March. No way. Matter of fact, the farther we can move that tournament away from Christmas, where I go broke every year, the better for me.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And if they are getting a deal, is the business side consuming that extra deal, or are they going to pass that down to the player?
Sure.
Cheaper room rates. Is it anything to help the player out?
What is the value for the player?
Absolutely.
Because we're talking that right now it seems like BCA has not been considering that enough, and their participation is showing.
It's showing big time. Those are big numbers.
Big numbers.
Just think about it. What is... let me go back here. We've talked about a lot of numbers. I was trying to see how many I said was down. So we'll say 500 players. right? Mm-hmm. And what is it for an entry fee? $100 at minimum?
VNEA at minimum.
For BCA.
Sure. BCA, I mean, I'm paying like 165 or 170 for singles nowadays or something.
All right, so times 175. That's $85,000 they missed out this year on just singles. Team event. Those are like a $500.
Wow. Yeah.
Times 500.
Yeah.
That's 50,000. So we're talking 125,000
big money numbers.
deficit this year.
Damn. Well, plus, I'm sure the casino's not as happy because there's fewer faces in the casino drinking beer and gambling. You know, that's a huge hit. I mean, we all know plenty of guys are going to go bust over the 2 weeks. Yeah. So the casino's not seeing the value either.
No, they aren't. And I would say the percentage of people that come that don't stay there is low. 20% maybe.
I did a couple years ago. I stayed at the Orleans, which geographically, I mean, it's very close. It's just down the street. You just go up one street, take a left, and you're there. And that was still a mega pain in the ass, man. It was not fun to do.
No.
I mean, I saved quite a bit on the hotel, but the aggravation of going back and forth, not worth it.
You know how it is. I want to go take a rest between my matches.
And it's important if you want to win.
I want to run up. I want to put my cues down. I want to kick my shoes off. Mm-hmm. I want to take a 15-minute nap. I want to freshen up.
Take a shower, stretch it out, do some yoga moves.
Yeah, whatever moves you call those. I got a real nice picture of Adam doing some yoga moves.
You bastard, yeah. Look, everybody prepares in their own way, okay? I'm trying to free my spirit. A little bit.
Yeah, So, I mean, there's so many things. And actually, what would be pretty cool would be, and I'm definitely not asking, I'm saying it would be awesome if the BCA would call then because of this broadcast and say, hey guys, here's the deal.
Let's set the record straight
Let's set the record straight.
Dude, I would love that. I would love to have an official from the BCA on the podcast. And honestly, I think I could get it. I haven't tried very hard. I've been busy with many things. I would love to get somebody from the VNEA, which I have much better contacts with. And I know some league operators at the very least for the BCA. Let's give us some real numbers. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But give us the trend. Like, what do you see here? Because I know a lot of bar owners that say having the BCA in their bar is expensive and a pain in the ass.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They like the APA.
Well, everybody likes the APA.
Because the players
drink
get smashed.
More. They just get smashed. They bang balls around. They're there for fucking 8 hours.
Yeah,
it's a whole day event.
Yeah. It's a whole day event.
Jesus. Yeah. I'm going to shoot 3 games, and it's going to be an all-day deal. I mean, I like I play the APA on a local team here just because I wanted to join some tournaments and,
of course.
and have some fun. I like their races. I like having a long race.
Sure.
You've got to play a lot of games.
And the BCA strategy of who to put up when is pretty fun. It makes the captain's job quite a bit more important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Instead of ours, like, who's going to keep score tonight?
Oh, exactly.
I don't know. You do it. I do it.
For BCA
whatever.
and VNEA, it's just, who's going to keep score and keep all these cats herded.
It's just a matter of, hey, it's your turn to play. It's time to go. And you have your order. It is what it is.
Sure.
And you play
now,
your 5 games.
At Nationals, keeping the team spirit up and keeping everybody organized, I mean, the captain's job becomes a lot more important if you want to really compete. But if you just want to have like a regular league, the captain for BCA and VNEA is not really that important.
No.
Yeah, but for APA, it is. It is important.
Or lack of a captain when they don't show, or
which
whatever.
Is common. Yeah.
In our circle of group here, but
in synopsis, though, John, the BCA seems to be struggling. The Rio is probably not the best venue in the world. It's very expensive. It's off the strip. I think it's less fun. The BCA event is more prestigious, better equipment, better production value. It's just a way cooler environment, but we're not seeing the money payback, and we're not seeing a lot of the prestigious things like honoring the players, so on and so forth, that the VNEA is doing still a pretty good job at. So for the BCA, I would say, listen to the players. start to really think about what value you're bringing to your customers. And the VNEA continue to do what you do well and try to modernize your event a little bit because it's looking a little stale. It's looking a little 80s.
Hey, Adam, I couldn't agree more with everything you're saying. I love the VNEA.
I'm very smart, John.
I was just saying that to be nice.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Look, I love both events. I'm going to continue to go to the BCA.
Me too.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, yeah.
The equipment is great. I like the competition. You really see where you're at.
Yep.
Because it's a different class of player.
And that's the thing. The BCA is the A class. It's you want to go see what you're really made out of, go to the BCA.
Go to the BCA. Valley, you've got to play a different game, but the venue is so much easier. I love the Valley.
It's more fun.
It's like a little more laid back.
No dress code. We didn't even talk about that.
Oh,
no dress code. I wear shorts and flops at the VNEA.
Yeah, and it's not to disrespect the game.
No, I sweat a lot when I play.
Because you lose a lot.
Well, of course. I'm always sweating my position, baby.
I don't know where this ball's going to end up on this table, but
when you play with as much hope as I play with, you want to have less clothes on. I'm just saying.
So, I agree with you. The Valley is a fantastic event. I love Valley. It's so much easier, funner. BCA is a little more, I don't know, uptight. Yeah. Uptight's not really the word.
Professional.
Professional. Yeah. Okay. They're a little more professional. You can't shoot with any tears, rips, or anything in your jeans.
Sure. Collared shirts are still required.
I saw a guy get a game docked for a hole in his pants.
I've seen it every year. People with open-toed shoes, you can't have that. You can't play in sweatpants. You can play in shorts now. They changed that. You used to not be able to play in shorts. When I started BCA, you had to play in new jeans or slacks, closed-toed shoes, collared shirt. I mean, that's nice. I like that. I still play that way at BCA.
I'm a firm believer. If you look good, you feel good, you play good.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
I wear slacks, collared shirt.
Yeah. Feeling
good is paramount to winning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth.
Sure.
And so at the end, both events are great. I would be interested to see what happens. I expected that when the Fargo rate came out, you'd see a huge dip. I think we're seeing a dip 2 years later.
Yeah.
But, okay, is it three things? People don't like the Fargo rate. People don't like the venue.
Sure.
And then the CSI, taking the pro players away. And taking the CSI away. So we've got...
The CSI is still there. But the entry fee, though.
The entry fee to join the event. So now you have four things going against you.
Sure.
Four things. What is the Valley doing? They aren't changing anything. Nope. They're just putting on a fantastic event.
If it's not broke. Yep.
And are they gaining... Now, those people are leaving to go to that Valley.
Sure. People that are frustrated with the changes in the BCA are going to a tournament that hasn't changed, the Valley.
And this is just a little, I don't want to stop us from closing the event, but this is just something to think about, is the Valley has a way much more international presence.
Big time.
Than the BCA.
Yep.
Look, when we went in 2014...
we got through Canada, Portugal, Spain, Germany, Finland.
We got to play really great players from those regions.
Absolutely.
Who only play on big table.
Yeah, well, apparently Valley is many years ago, possibly in the 80s, I don't want to really quote a time, but let's just say 20, 30 years ago, they were much better business-wise at expanding their league to other countries than the BCA was.
Yep. So you go to BCA, there's some.
There's some for sure.
New Zealand. We compete against the New Zealand
Spain
team.
used to come frequently. I've seen teams from Vietnam. Matter of fact, I met a guy from Team Vietnam this year. So they do have an international presence for sure, but Valley seems to do a better job at that.
And if you're claiming a world championship as BCA changed.
They recently changed their name to BCA World Championship.
From BCA Nationals to BCA World, I would be curious to know what are they doing to promote that BCA brand in other countries now.
I would love to sit down with an exec and just talk liberally with them. Like, hey, what are you doing? Because obviously they have plans. We're not calling these people silly. They obviously want their product to succeed. So I'm gonna work on that. Actually, that was my plan when I started the podcast, was to have these conversations, and hopefully some people hear this and maybe they're thinking, "You idiots, you're so wrong on XYZ." So come on here and talk about it.
Well, absolutely.
Cost you nothing. I don't want anything from you. Just come on and just tell the people what you know.
Tell the people what you know. We'd love to hear it, and speak about what the future is.
Sure.
I think a lot of people don't know what the future is.
No one does, man.
No one does.
No one does.
And so that would be interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's I think we been going on here a couple hours now, a little over a couple hours.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up here, guys. Thank you for listening. John, thank you for putting together that information, for being on the podcast. Thank you for your time and everything you've done for me and for the pool community. We appreciate you. And is there anything else? You want to give any shout-outs, John?
No,
some people out there that you love? Oneski?
I love everybody. I love Oneski. Oneski, it's time for you to get in the box, son.
I know. We got to get that old champ out.
You got to get that champ out.
I want to see Robert Rodriguez out here, too. Where are you hiding?
Where are these local champs at?
Right?
Where have they been hiding?
Yeah.
No, but thank you, Adam.
Hey, thanks, man.
We formed a great friendship over the last many years.
Sure. Good road dogs.
We're good road dogs, and
winning that money.
Do a lot of things together, and
absolutely. I enjoy it, man. I enjoy helping the pool world. I really I see the possibilities that are out there for pool. That you just need some people that maybe have a little more professionalism. Not saying that I do, but I'm just saying some people out there that can put things together that don't need the money particularly. That just want to help the game out of the goodness of their own heart, because pool has a lot of people like that, and I want to make a forum for them to speak truthfully and to speak for a long time too, so you can really see what they have to say.
Oh, absolutely. So I think it would be interesting.
Yeah.
So sorry to bore everybody, but
no, I think people like it. People want to hear that, and if you don't, well, too bad. This is what you get, baby. But thank you everybody for listening. Stay tuned. Thank you, Mile High Billiards, for supporting the podcast and always supporting me personally. Those guys have helped me from day one. Warner Kingsbury, Greg Kingsbury, thank you guys. And we will see you here on the podcast soon. And good night.